Right, fire away.
Awesome.
So, just an insight for you two boys. Reese and Chris both worked at CFM. Is my brother. He did about a year at CFM and did some good promos like physicals and stuff like that.
Oh, Neil.
Chris, ex-army. Chris is based in Belfast, so Northern Ireland. He's ex-army. Chris started off as a telemarketer in the January. By the August, he was top producer, and he remained top producer even though he came out on the road in the August. He was still top producer by the Christmas.
Nice.
He did. And then he came out on the road and became top producer on the road, covering both UK and Ireland. So he's done like the Montanotti and all those Irish promos. And his average cash was something like £170 per sale across the year.
Love it.
He was recognised for that in CFM. So same mentality as us, really. Obviously, big drivers and stuff like that. So both of these two missed you guys, but they know that you were from CFM and stuff like that. So I think we've kind of got that real factor in there. It's not just a couple of folks that we've never met before. They've heard about the both of you in the company. Probably stories that you didn't want them to hear, but they have heard about them. So that's all.
God. I hope not the really bad ones.
You've met Sue already. So it's just a matter of just sharing your story for the likes of Reese and Chris of how you become successful in Australia, and then we'll fire some questions at you if that's all right.
Sure.
Yeah, awesome. Fantastic. Well, thanks for coming on, guys. I actually didn't realise you guys were CFM guys as well, which is really, really cool. But yeah, so I'll just sort of jump in and share my story. As Harry said, you know, going back, when was that I finished up? Was that 2011, I think? Yeah, so basically coming back from CFM and, you know, experiencing the world and traveling through Europe and having the best time of my life, I came back to boring old Brisbane. And when I got back, I had those, post-holiday depression. You know, having been overseas for about 3 years and really living that incredible lifestyle. And I got straight back into my job, you know, a normal everyday day job. Very quickly, I realized that there's no way that I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. You know, I didn't want to work for the man. I didn't want to do the 9 to 5 forever. I was like, how could I possibly do this for 40 years if I'm already feeling, you know, unhappy in my job? And, you know, I went from job to job. Like I did about 2 or 3 jobs after CFM. And that's when it really solidified for me that there is no job out there that can really satisfy the hunger that I have to create, you know, a bigger and better life. And I had some great jobs here, you know, and I was really successful. I was getting paid really well, you know, so on paper it looks great, but I just always had that, that sort of gut-wrenching feeling that it didn't feel right. Like I definitely have never liked having a boss. You know, I've always wanted to really have my own thing and be my own boss. And so that's really when, you know, I started searching for like an alternative solution. I said, okay, well, I'm not going to do this, but I'm going to find a way out. And so I started looking into different businesses, along with Bruce as well. When he came back, you know, we looked into things like developing apps and websites. We went to importing and exporting seminars. You know, the amount of things that we tried and looked into, and failed as well. It was pretty high up there. So it was almost getting to the point where it was like, shit, like I just don't know if I can make it out. Like I don't know if I can make it out of this 9 to 5 world. And really the biggest barrier that we kept coming up against was, you know, when we're trying to start up a new business, was we didn't have enough time we didn't have enough money or capital to really get something up and running. And we didn't really have, you know, probably the necessary skills for a lot of the things that we were looking into. So it was a really hard time. That whole 2 years, it's like, shit, this is really not cool. Anyway, fast forward a little bit longer. Bruce Donachi, who is also an ex-CFM man, you know, we had seen that he'd been doing this isogenics thing. We were totally against it, had no idea what it was about. We knew it was like some nutritional company. You know, we thought all sorts of the skeptical things that most people think when they first see it. And so he got me on the products. I didn't even really try them properly, you know, in the first week or two. Bruce was eating lasagnas and pizzas in front of me when I was trying to do this 30-day cleanse. So he was a really supportive friend in that respect. And so I just I put the products in the cupboard, you know, just didn't have the mindset or, you know, any intention to do them properly. And then fast forward 4 months, Bruce Donachi said, Pete, like, you've just got to take a look at this business. We're doing really well. Because he knew that we were looking for a way out. Like, he was part of that trio of all of us really looking for a way out of our job. Anyway, so I kind of laughed in his face. I said, you know, like, how much are you making? Just straight up, how much are you making? I thought he was going to say like 200 a month or something like that. And he said, Pete, we're in month 4 and we've just made 14,000 this month. And that was all in their spare time. And that's when it really sunk in. I was like, okay, like, you've got my attention. So he basically said, Pete, just come along to this event. You'll see what I'm talking about. If you don't like it, that's okay. But I know that you would kill this. And I know it's a huge opportunity for you. So Bruce and I both went along. And basically, long story short, after the 2 days at that event, that's where I saw what this company was really about. You know, it really was the biggest penny drop moment in my life, that this was exactly what I've been searching for, you know, for my entire adult life. You know, it really ticked all the boxes that, you know, it's health and wellness. You know, there's a huge opportunity for everyday people. There was no cap to the income. You can, you know, create your own lifestyle. You're your own boss. You can work from anywhere in the world. Like, all these sort of things, I was like, oh my God, I was just blown away by it. And then so coming out of that event, we were just like, yep, we're all in, we're going for this. Had no freaking idea what to do. We just had the excitement and the energy, just like, you know, Harry and some of yourself as well, just to share it with people. Like, we were excited because this is an opportunity not only to help people with their health, but it was to help people to create a better life. You know, that for me was like, we can do this with our friends as well. And that was just such a cool part of it. And so, you know, from that point onwards, you know, going on now over 2 years, in that time, you know, we've both left our 9-to-5 jobs. So I left mine at the start of last year, Bruce a little bit earlier. And we were both on, you know, $60,000 or $70,000 a year here in Australia. And obviously the only way for us to be able to leave our jobs was that our residual income outgrew our day job income, you know, so therefore allowing us to be able to work for ourselves and do our own thing. You know, we're on a 6-figure residual income. We've had 2 all expenses paid trips to the US and 1 to Borneo coming up in the next few weeks. Yeah, we've traveled the world. We've helped, you know, hundreds of people with, you know, health transformations, and working with so many of our close friends as well to really transform their life. So in that respect, it's been a complete game changer. It's like, it's completely changed my life. Now for the rest of my life, I get to choose what I want to do. You know, that freedom aspect, like, yeah, the financial freedom, that's going to take a long time, you know, like 3 to 5 years to really have life-changing financial freedom. But the time freedom, that is so achievable, like in a much shorter time period than a lot of people realize if you really go for this. And that's what's exciting, because people like you with your backgrounds, that's why Bruce and I had such fast success. It really was. Like, we had to step up against most other people that come into this we had sales experience, we had business development experience, you know, we were in leadership roles. And those are really some fundamental aspects of what this business is about. Obviously, we still had to learn a lot along the way. We made a lot of mistakes. We thought we knew it all, so we would do it our way, and we learned that the hard way. But you guys are in an incredible position here because, one, you've got that experience under your belt. You know, you've probably got really good networks amongst all of you. And, you know, the UK hasn't even launched yet. So just to give you a really quick idea of what Isogenics looks like globally and the opportunity that is in front of everyone. So it started, was it 14 years ago, Bruce? 14, I never remember. 14 years ago in Arizona in the US. And I won't go into too much of the detail about the whole company story, but in terms of the actual magnitude of the opportunity, in Australia, it's been around for about 7 or 8 years. It's only penetrated 0.3% of the Australian market, right? But with that 0.3% over an 8-year period, there are now 22 millionaires, and there are hundreds and hundreds of 6-figure residual income earners. And the vast majority of those 6-figure income earners are between the ages of 18 to 35, because it's the fastest growing demographic in Isogenics and network marketing is young people like us who are like, nah, I'm not working for the man for the rest of my life. You know, I want to build my own empire, you know, so that's why that demographic is just absolutely taking off. And there's 27 million people in Australia. In America, it's been going for 15 years and there's 300 million people, and it's only penetrated like 1% of the market. And in the world, there are over 210 millionaires and thousands and thousands and thousands of 6-figure income earners, and then tens of thousands of people who are making, you know, a good sort of part-time income. And then you look at what's happening in the UK. You guys have nearly 70 million people in the UK alone, right? And then what's going to happen after the UK is all set up, you know, maybe in the next year or two, they're going to, you know, sequence the next countries all through Europe. So the goal is to eventually open up every single European country. And when you really, really understand this compensation plan, and there's loads of videos and stuff that Harry has either sent you or can send you, you know, we can go through and explain the basics of it. This compensation plan is truly, it's the most incredible thing in the world. Like, I've compared the Isogenics compensation plan to every other company I've ever heard of, and not once have I seen one that comes close. And I know it sounds biased, but when you do your own research with that as well, it will seriously blow your mind what is possible. You know, a lot of people think that when you come into network marketing that you need to enroll hundreds and thousands of people to really make an incredible income. That's not the case at all. You know, Bruce and I, we enrolled, since we started, about 200 people, which is, you know, pretty high for standards in Australia. But we've got over 3,000 people in our business. You know, and so a lot of the people that have truly helped us to grow our income are not people that we personally enrolled. You know, that's why this compensation plan is so exciting. We built a 6-figure residual income without one personally enrolled business builder, right? So we got enrolled by Crystal and Bruce. They enrolled, you know, 3 or 4 people who really took off with this business, and they were on our left leg, right? And then we enrolled another CFM guy who didn't really do much with the business, but he enrolled 2 or 3 people. One of those guys enrolled a club owner in New South Wales, and he took off with the business. And we just worked with those people that were wanting support. And as a result of that, obviously we were still personally enrolling people. We never came across anyone that really took off with it. So just those people in our business that weren't personally enrolled, over time we grew a 6-figure residual income. So it just shows you just the power and magnitude of this compensation plan. But it really comes down to the products, you know. So I'll go into the products a little bit later, but that's kind of a sort of overview of my story and a little bit more about it. Happy to answer questions a little bit later, but I'll let Bruce sort of share his story with it all, and we'll just sort of crack on.
Yeah, thanks, Pete. Yeah, guys, like I won't go into as much depth here as Pete. You don't want to hear about me and my story. It's very much the same, to be honest, as Pete. I was in the UK till 2013. So that would have been my, I think, 3.5 years of CFM as a manager on the road, and I was ready to leave. That life was starting to get a bit painful, and the weather. I was up in bloody Scotland for most of the time towards the end there. And so I decided to come back, but towards the end there, I was already thinking about, I didn't want to go straight back into a job and back to Adelaide, so I was looking at straight away building an app with an English guy, actually. And so pretty much all the way home, I was engaged in that and trying to build that up to a place where we could actually obviously start making money out of it. I was going to take a job up in Hong Kong, and Pete actually rang me up and said, mate, listen, there's a job here as a recruiter. It's good pay, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, you know what, I'll take it. Because at the back of my mind, I also wanted to set up a wine label with 2 friends in the Barossa Valley, which is something that I've been wanting to do since I finished high school, and it took me about 16 years before it actually got off the ground. And so that was partly the reason I was coming back to Australia as well. But pretty quickly, when I got back, I took the role where Pete was actually working, and very quickly realised all my capital that I had made from CFM, I actually had saved a bit, was going into this wine label to set up the business, and I was working full time. So I had 2 problems. Money was getting chewed up into this wine label very, very quickly, and I was also working full time, about 50 to 60 hours a week. So the 2 problems I came up with straight away is I was running out of money to continually build up this wine label. I just didn't have the time that was necessary to obviously bring money back into the business. So I was sort of stuck, and that's where Pete and I really started banging our heads against the wall, going, right, we need to work out another way to create another income stream, whether it's setting up a business or doing something online, import, export, as Pete mentioned. And so we got to work, and literally over that next 18 months, we tried a lot of things. We leaned into a lot of things. We did a lot of research. We just pretty much sort of everything possible before what Pete mentioned, this opportunity fell on our hands. And it did take us a while to sort of get it. As soon as we got to that event, we sort of listened to a few of the speakers there, and they're just doing some incredible things very quickly. So for us, after that, we were in, and ignorance on fire, we just went for it. And like Pete said, for you guys as well, being sort of the CFM side, which is very helpful, particularly in the beginning, because you're used to talking to people, you're used to sharing a product or whatever it is that, you're providing. So just we went to absolute town on this. But like Pete said, we had a few issues at the beginning because we were bringing our CFM skill set alone to this business. And so we had to do a little bit of learning. It had to be more coachable than we really like to be, I think you could say. Because like Pete said, we did like to do it ourselves. We were like, we've got this, we'll make it happen. However, as soon as we became more coachable, we had tremendous success really early. And so for me now, it was just fantastic, because straight away we were earning this additional income, which allowed me to be able to get my job. So I was no longer needing that daytime job. So I had complete time freedom as we built up this income to where we wanted it, which allowed me to obviously continue with this wine thing on the side, which has been really exciting and rewarding for me as well. So, now where we are today, it's just unbelievable, because we have set that foundation, and what's about to happen in Europe is mind-boggling. Like I was talking to Pete the other day about, like, we just can't comprehend how big this really is, just in the UK alone. But considering Europe's behind that, just waiting to follow suit, is just going to be unprecedented. Like, the growth is going to be magical, projecting to do $2 billion next year. So, I mean, this is a company that's doubling its profits over the following 18 months. So when you're talking big bucks like that, it's pretty impressive how quickly they're moving. And what's so exciting about that is 50% of what comes through those sales goes straight out to people like you and I. There's not a lot of network marketing companies actually can pull that off. And it is because Pete said the compensation plan, in my eyes, is perfect. And so, there is a real opportunity for people like us who are just going for it. But I think the best thing to do is, I know Harry had written down some questions. If you'd like to go through and just ask any questions, and guys, speak up. If you've got any questions whatsoever, just just throw them out, and we'll just be able to answer them as best we can for you.
Yeah, so the biggest question can you hear me?
Yeah, buddy.
The biggest question that's coming up from these guys and some of the guys that haven't made it onto the call is how do they explain it to people how it works? Like, and what's it about for the products and the business and stuff like that? I mean, like in Australia, obviously you guys start by taking the products yourselves, and then obviously you're just sharing your experience, and it's more sharing your experience on the sale. Over here,
yeah,
we don't do that. It's literally how do they go to their pal and say, listen, I've been given this great opportunity.
Yeah, awesome. Love that question. So this, going back to when we first started, you know, just like you guys, we were energy on fire. And like, if I knew what I knew now and went back and started again, you know, obviously it wasn't the end of the world, but we made a lot of mistakes. And one of the big mistakes we made was trying to explain everything to everyone. Like it's the hardest thing not to do, because you get so excited about it once you really understand it. You just want to explain everything about the products or everything about the business. But you think of it like going on a date. You know, you don't want to give them too much too early. You know, you want.
No, girls, that's fine. You can do whatever you want there.
Yeah, girls, it's different. No, that's one of my favorite.
Can we all just take a moment to look how red Chris is?
If this was just the lads, it would be a slightly different conversation. But yeah, we'll
Victoria probably knows it all anyway, so I'm all right.
But yeah, so it really is a good analogy to use in this situation. It's like, you know, you don't want to be too aggressive with, you know, like showing your feelings and that sort of stuff. It's the same with this. Like you want to kind of, as you said, share your experience and share your excitement and enthusiasm about it. But you want to give them enough to really want to know more and come back to you. And so in the early days, right, you guys probably don't know that much yet about the products or about the business. So the biggest thing that I can share with you is learn everything. So there's that many podcasts and that many videos and, you know, links and all that sort of stuff. It's not so that you can share everything, but it's so that you know what you can say and what you can send to different people. You know, because everyone that you're going to be speaking to is going to have different goals. You know, in CFM, one of your first things to do is like ask, you know, what are you wanting to achieve and why are you wanting to achieve that? It's no different. Like the whole process is pretty much exactly spot on to the CFM process. And that's why that first event I went to, I was like, oh my God, this is like CFM, but just times a million. And so that's it. So you start, listening to the podcast, you start watching the movies. First of all, you're going to develop your own knowledge and you're going to get freaking excited when you really understand the products because they are truly changing the game in the wellness industry and the same with the business. But it's all about, in terms of a conversation, it's about the law of reciprocation. So that basically that just means the more questions you're asking someone, you'll get to control the conversation that way. So if you're asking them like, how's it going? What's happening at work? How's work going? Are you enjoying it? Are you smashing it at the gym or what's going on there? Questions like that, which they're then going to ask back to you. That's what the law of reciprocation is. Whatever questions you ask, they're going to ask you back. So you get to control the flow of the conversation. And then what we do, like previously we would have just explained like in a Bible message in Facebook, like the whole 30-day cleanse and how it works. But all you need to do is like one or two sentences to start with, like, yeah, man, I'm doing great at work, blah, blah, blah. I've just started or I'm just about to start this nutritional cleansing system when it opens up in the UK. I'm really, really excited about it. I've seen some of my friends in Australia have amazing kick-ass results. So I'm really pumped for when it comes out here, hopefully in about April or May. And that's it. then they'll be like, what is that? Like, what's nutritional cleansing? Or you could, utilize the business aspect. You can say, yeah, man, work's going really well, but I'm really, really excited about this new business I'm about to start. It's just going to be launching in the UK in about April or May. I've seen some of my friends have just had some amazing success with the business. They've been able to leave their jobs within 2 years, and I'm just really excited to get stuck into it.
And so just add to that one, Pete, which is like you just no doubt probably going to touch on it, but like it's so important at the beginning because, of course, you guys don't know too much about it from what you've just been learning so far from the podcast and realistically in the last week, right? So it's exactly the same for us. We had no idea how the products work, what they would do. We just knew what they felt like inside of us and what it actually physically did to us. We saw it, so we were sold straight away. But also in the business, you don't need to know everything straight away. Obviously, you want to educate yourself, but remember, no one knows much about it when they start. We've all had that same feeling. And the best thing to say in that situation, when you've just said what Peter said, listen, I'm really excited about this, and they ask something you don't know, you can say, I actually don't know. There's nothing wrong with that. It's the most powerful word in prospecting is I don't know. However, I have two really close friends who've had massive success in Australia. They're helping me out on Facebook. I'll set up a chat and leverage our time across to us. And this could be anyone. It could be products. It could be business. Because that's the most powerful thing that we can do to help each other in this game is by leveraging our costs to the so-called expert. So if that comes up, the first thing is share your excitement. You're excited, right? All of us are excited about starting this. So just share that with people. And as soon as they ask the question, what it's all about, it could be the smallest question. You can say, listen, I've only actually been starting to set this up over the last couple of weeks. But what I'll do is I'll get Pete on a Facebook chat so he can explain it because he knows exactly how it all works. Okay, so that person straight away goes, wow, what Harry's actually, he's got another person who's been doing this really well to actually come and spend some time with me. Like he's going above and beyond to get my support already there. But what the cool thing about that is it makes your job at the beginning so much easier because you don't have to explain everything. You don't have to be the product or the business expert. You're simply sharing the excitement and passing it across, and then we can do the heavy lifting at the beginning. And that was something that, sorry, Pete, go.
I was just going to add to that as well. For guys like you and for us, sometimes that is really hard not to try and be the expert. Like, because that was our biggest barrier was, we were so used to closing the sale and, that whole sales mentality is like, I don't need anyone else, to help me to talk to this person. And that really is what shot us in the foot for the first 12 months. Because what we were able to do, right, is we were really good still at enrolling, yeah? But the key to this business, there's really 4 parts to it. So you got enrolling is one part. And so if you're in sales, that's really all you need to do. But in network marketing, you have retention, you have duplication, and you have leadership. So creating that through your business. And that is why 3-way calls or 3-way chats are so, so crucial. Even if you know the answer to everything, absolutely everything. If you do that, if you try and explain everything, what's going to happen when they start and they're trying to talk to a friend, they're going to be like, I don't know what Harry knows. There's no way I could explain that to my friend the way he did it. But if Harry said to Johnny, look, I could explain everything to you, but I really just want to introduce you to my friend Peter. He's been doing this a lot longer than I have, and he can just explain it better than I can when he's free to chat. And then the duplication process starts. So Johnny's like, oh, is that all I need to do to share with my friend? Is I just need to get them on the phone to Harry or to Peter? And then that duplicates through your entire business.
And that's where you start having that sort of snowball effect because everyone can do this business. There's no one who can't. It's just simply leveraging those systems. And a really good example of this is a naturopath, Jen Jeffries, here in Australia. So she's was world-renowned, speaking across the world in her skill set in that area. And she was obviously very skeptical as a naturopath about isogenics. And then she actually took a look at the products seriously and just went, holy shit, this is half the stuff that I'm actually prescribing to some of my clients. And so she fell in love with the products, really went to town, went through the processes. she was enrolling so many people, like I'm talking hundreds of people. And the issue for her was it wasn't duplicating. So you've got this naturopath who's, you know, a world speaker in the field. So you'd think because of that, she should be fantastic at this, right? But everybody she signed up said, you know what, I can't do what Jen does. I can't explain what these botanical herbs do inside some of the organs or whatever else. So it was about 3.5 years into her business where she learned the I don't know. And that was very hard for her because she did bloody know. But she knew in duplication of this business, she had to introduce that third-party validation. And as soon as she did that, it was her stats. I don't know off the top of my head. But
I do, because I've heard it heaps of times. So, sorry to interrupt. So she started off, her first year was like she earned 15,000. Her second year, she earned like 20,000. Her third year, she earned about 35,000. And then when she started three-way calls and duplication, in her next 3 years, she earned up to $1 million.
Yeah.
So she went from, because that's why it comes down to, you know, enrolling, retention, duplication, leadership. She was only touching on the enrolling aspect. She wasn't retaining her, you know, customers because she wasn't plugging them into other people and other support. And she wasn't duplicating because no one could possibly explain what she could explain because she's a product expert, and she wasn't creating leadership. And three-way calls covers all four of those aspects. And it's the same for Bruce and I. So we got up to a certain level where like we had quick success, and then we just flatlined. We just couldn't get past it for 12 months. And then we went to about 15 events, and we heard this over and over again until we finally got it. And we were like, right, okay, we're going to start to duplicate, and we're going to implement three-way calls into our business. And what happens with duplication is it doesn't like happen overnight. You've really got to be like, okay, this is the core focus of my business is three-way calls. And we did that for like 4 months. We were just smashing them. And then all of a sudden, 1 week, we doubled our business. So we went from 2-star to 4-star, which is basically going from a 5-figure income to a nearly multiple 6-figure income, you know, but that's as a result of duplication and momentum happening in our business. So if you can do that from the start, man, you guys are going to have much, much better success than we ever did. That's for sure.
And another thing for us is, like me personally, and I know that these two are the same, and other people in the group, like I'm not getting into isogenics to make just a couple £100 here and there. Like obviously I wanted in for the big bucks. So what would your advice be to these guys to start it off and how to maximize that potential on the pre-enrollment, and then obviously when the product launches to take it on from there to maximize on their opportunity, because we all have the same opportunity. There's no way you come into the tree, you've all got that same opportunity. So how can they maximize that now before the product's launched, and then once it launches, take it further from there?
Yeah, that's a really good question, guys. I love it. And that's exactly the same as Pete and I. We weren't doing this just for a couple of bucks on the side. We wanted to make a legacy income and as fast as possible. And yeah, I mean, there's a couple of different things there. But in terms of the general rule is to be successful in this business, you need high action and you need consistency. However, because of the pre-launch, and it's a really unique situation, which is beneficial for you guys, very beneficial for and lucrative for you all. Because a lot of people, when they start, it's all about massive enrollments and not those other 3 steps, right? But as soon as you understand that, you can have a huge amount of success with this pre-enrollment. The key with building a really strong, stable, lucrative business is depth in your business. So by all means, the more people you're enrolling, the higher the chance and odds are a lot of these people are going to be actually getting on board, growing great businesses themselves. And that's by implementing those 3 ways and being the right support from the beginning. However, building depth is so, so, so important. So you might think, well, I've got 50 people start. How can I fail? And it's actually complete opposite. You really want to build that people in depth. So you'd be better off enrolling 4 or 5 people, but have those 4 or 5 people do exactly what you've done and become executive. So that's the aim of the game for all of you right now for pre-enrollment, is becoming an executive as soon as you can. If you don't know what executive, it's basically 5 people on your left, 5 people on your right that are personally enrolled, that are becoming consultants and above, okay? So in a perfect world, if I was you sitting in the UK right now and I knew what I knew, I'd be doing everything in my power to enroll quite a few people, and the people who are ready to run with this are already ready. They're the same as you and I, like they're going, right, we're ready to go. I'd be helping them with all their people, plugging them into Peter and myself to get them to executive as well. Because if you, guys, if you go in, this pre-launch comes out and say whatever it is going to be, 8 weeks or something, if you are executive and you've got 10 executives in your business, your growth is going to be phenomenal. I can't even comprehend it. You'll be overtaking Peter and I very quickly. We've been doing this for 2 and a bit years. That's what is sitting there. But it's going to be for those who have the action. Like you guys are just, Harry's on fire at the moment. He's speaking to lots of people. Victoria and him doing it really, really well. But imagine, and it's been 1 week, right? Imagine what we can do over the next 8 weeks. So you guys have all got an opportunity to build a huge business from the very beginning with little barriers, because it's very simple. All we need is the addresses and bits and pieces. And then Peter's, my job is to really help coach, mentor, and train those people for you before the launch happens. And then when the launch comes, well, then there's going to be a whole lot of new strategies we can implement. And we'll start going through this over the next 4 or 5 weeks. But right now, it's simply sharing the excitement, particularly on the business of what you guys are starting, and then leveraging our time to be able to explain how that business looks for them. And if it's something they want to do, and if it's something they want to do, we just duplicate that. Because really, if you've got 3 or 4 levels deep of duplication, you're not going to be able to control how quickly this grows for you. It's going to be happening by itself. When you're sleeping, your business will be growing. And so that's when it becomes super exciting, when you've got your app and you're seeing residual income coming through while you're having dinner with the family, and you're just like, what's happening? So my advice right now is definitely the action and consistency all the way through.
Yeah, I was just writing down a few just as you were speaking, and I love this. It's kind of like, looking back at our journey and like giving myself the advice before we even start. So really the first one, and you look at everyone in Isogenics that has had massive success. One of the absolute key components across all of them is that they have a burning desire to succeed. And I'm sure that you guys have that, and it's probably not something that you can learn. It's just something that, once you see this vision and you see this as your vehicle to create, the most incredible life, that in itself should give you a burning desire to succeed. Because when you have a burning desire to succeed, and I'm sort of partially quoting Tony Robbins here, you become resourceful. It doesn't matter about the resources that you have. When you're resourceful, you will be able to find a way. Like, it's like, I always like to use the example for someone. If someone took away your parents or your children and they said, you're not getting them back until you make a 6-figure income, like how quickly do you think you would make a 6-figure income if that was the case? That to me is like a burning desire to change your circumstances. But then the other one, is obviously we're all talking about how to have fast success. But the reality of network marketing is that it is a long-term game. As Harry said, every single person has the same opportunity. They got the same compensation plan. And I can tell you some stories of people that have had ridiculous success in such a short period of time, but it's not typical, right? And it's not to say that you can't have that, but it's also being realistic with yourself and knowing that this is a long-term game plan, because there is no get rich quick, right? So to give you 2 examples, the first one is Jen Jeffries, who we were talking about before. It took her 6 years to really start to master this, but now she's making over, $600,000 a year residually for the rest of her life. So is that worth sticking it out for 6 years? Hell yeah, it is. Another example is Brett and Sammy. Right, Brett and Sammy actually were gym owners, and you don't need to be a gym owner to have success in this business. They had 5 children. They had their gym and they had 2 other jobs as well. And they were young children, right? But they saw this was the vehicle that was going to allow them to spend every single day with their children and not have to go to work for 10 hours a day. So they got to work and they just did this in the small pockets of their time. And in a period of 10 months, they maxed out their first business center, which basically means about $27,000 a week residually. You know, so, and they're obviously, they've grown even much more than that right now. They've probably nearly doubled that. So that's 2 examples, right? But you never can predict what is going to happen with your own journey in network marketing. If you want faster success, it really comes down to how many conversations are you having. That really is the key thing, because you could be in this game for 5 years and you only have 500 conversations, or you could be in this game for 2 months or 1 month and have 500 conversations. You know what I mean? So it's not about the time frame, it's about how many conversations you have, and it's also about how many quality conversations that you have. But then it's about the stuff that we were talking about. It's about how quickly can you duplicate, you know, by plugging people into the tools and systems, plugging people into the 3-way calls. If you do that from day one, you're going to have faster success than most people in this business. And then the other thing with that is it's all about leverage. So it's about leveraging your own time. You guys are all working full time, I'm pretty sure. Bruce and I are doing this 24/7, which is why we're waking up at 5:30 in the morning to do calls for you guys. We're doing calls all throughout the day for our team and at night time as well. And we do that so that we can support our team as best as possible so that they can leverage their time. So, that you guys are only going to have maybe 1 hour a day, maybe 2, depending on, each individual. So you can maximize your time by simply having the conversations and just getting as many people onto a group call like this. So we're going to have 1 a week where we do it for the bigger team, but we can also do, separate smaller ones for you guys as well. So it's how many people can you get onto these calls? And then how many of your team members can you duplicate that and say, okay, this is all you need to do is get them on a call with these guys. They're going to explain everything. So if you follow those basic principles, that's how you have accelerated success, and that's how you really create a massive income.
And just a quick one, guys, just really small, PJ. We're going to be starting to connect you guys with other people in Isogenics as well. So there might be, for example, if you had a club owner, it's something that Pete and I could definitely speak to. But my point is there's going to be different types of people that you're speaking to. And so if you're speaking to, a 35-year-old woman who's got 2 small kids, single mother, for example, maybe not the best person to speak to being Peter and I, but we have people in the exactly same situation here. So you can actually reach out to Pete and I, say, have you got someone similar to this person's background, to their story? And then we can connect you guys up, and that person can be the expert right on the phone. So there's a lot of people ready to support you guys here in Australia that Pete have in our team. So different backgrounds. The key is to match that right, similar background set. So obviously that person's going to feel comfortable talking about their scenario, their situation, what's going on. So respect them a bit and really give them the most support possible. Just reach out if there's someone you're like, you know what, you guys are great, but I prefer if we had a woman to speak to this person because of this, and we can definitely do that.
And the other thing as well is really educating yourself. Like this business, it's been an incredible ride for us, and it really has been a lot about re-educating ourselves or it is a slightly different game to sales. And so listening to, I just became obsessed with learning about everything, but I realized when I first started, I didn't have time to just listen to 3 hours of podcasts a day. So what I would do is I would do my learning time in the car or when I was at the gym. So I'd just have a podcast going, so that because I can't really write messages when I'm, driving and at the gym. So I kind of maximize my time like that. And if you listen to like one podcast a day or every 2 days, you know, after 2 months, you're going to know just as much as Bruce and I, you know, and there are a lot of ones that we've watched and listened to over and over again, which we can share with you guys.
Take this quickly, the Eric Worre GoPro, we need to get out to everyone as well. That's a great place.
Yeah. So yeah, write this one down. So it's called GoPro 7 Steps to Becoming a Network Marketing Professional. Do you want me to write that?
Yeah, write it.
Yeah. Okay. So this one will be on iTunes. Buy it as an audio book.
But this is great, guys, because it really is the resume of everything you need to know network marketing. It really is. He's renowned globally as the #1 master network trainer. So he coaches everyone everyone within the industry. Has had tremendous success, but now all he does is really trains the who's who of network marketing. And he's put this book together, this audio book, which is just the Bible for us in an industry to start from. It really gives you the basic steps. It shares his story and what he did and how he needed to change, and implements everything into his business. So that's a great one, guys. I've listened to it, countless times now. But it was the first one that Pete and I ever listened to, and it was just a great head start for us to sort of get our head around a few things.
And Harry, if you remember seeing Bruce and I go to Vegas in December, he was the guy that had the event on in Vegas. So the massive network marketing event.
Yeah, with Richard Branson, Tony Robbins, he invited all these different entrepreneurs and business leaders around, including the sort of top sort of 20, 30 network marketing guys in the world. I mean, you blew us away completely. You had guys who have earned over $100 million in network marketing there. I mean, there's some serious players, and their advice is great. But they're going to do another one, no doubt, soon. It'll be August next year in Vegas.
Bruce, sorry to interrupt. I've got to jump off. I've got to go pick Stephanie up, but I'll listen to the rest of the call on the recording. But I'll see you all tomorrow.
Absolutely, man. Absolute pleasure, buddy. We'll speak to you soon.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. But yeah, so the other thing is we can if we're now going to open up our team page. It's called Executives Club UK. To you guys, because you've jumped on the call, you've shown that you're ready to learn and you're ready to grow the business. So our team page is basically, it's a resource for you guys to learn, to ask questions, to be inspired, and to share your own journey. So if you've got recognition for any of your new team members that sort of come on board and they're smashing it, you can throw up a little cool recognition post. So I'll get Harry to add you guys to that page. Please don't add anyone to that page. Like, don't add prospects, or even if someone that you've got is keen, make sure that they get on a call first, because this is another mistake that we made. Is we thought the people that we were speaking to in the early days were really keen, and so we just threw them in the page. We sent them everything, and it was just too much too early. You'll know, straight away when someone's keen is they'll jump on a call, they'll ask questions, they'll want to learn more, and they'll want to get to work. So when that happens, and only if once they're pre-registered and they've got on a call, that's when you add them to that page, because it's just like a really good resource for them. There's heaps of, things that we post in their podcasts and trainings and, all that sort of stuff.
It's really it's going to be your page as well, guys. It's something that you can use. You can, like Pete said, add all the bits and pieces, but we're going to have that training call tomorrow, which will go into a lot more depth of how to utilize that page, how to introduce someone correctly with integrity, and how you can duplicate effectively using these pages. But we've added out, there's going to be two. One will come down the track later about the products, which we don't really need to worry about too much right now. But the business one's definitely something that's going to be a great tool for you guys over the next 8 weeks as well, to leverage off of. Cool. Sorry, Harry, is there any other questions you've got there, bud?
No, done, mate. I'm ready to go to bed, to get up early to drive to Newcastle in the morning.
Oh, fun. Fun. How about you guys? Is there anything at all?
No, I'm happy. Got quite a bit down here. It's good.
Good. Everyone's smiling. That's a good sign. Except for Peter. I know he is. Cool. But yeah, guys, listen, just reach out to us.
To put it up. Do you think for the girls, it'd be handy if they maybe pushed anybody towards Larry? I know Victoria's got a great network at university with, you can imagine, people from all over the country and stuff like that. Do you reckon they would be best suited speaking to Larry or coming over to you guys?
Yeah, good question. So some of this, like, you don't necessarily need to match up a girl with a girl, but you'll kind of know based on your friend that you're speaking to, you'll know if they're going to respond better to a one-on-one with a girl, or if they're going to be happy to go into like one of the big group ones, or if, they're just like one of the girls and chuck them on with PJ and Bruce. So you just kind of assess that for yourself. And if you need a girl to do like a small group one for, a couple of your girlfriends, we can absolutely set that up. We've also got Crystal Wilson, who is the girlfriend of Bruce Donachie, and they're our sponsors, and that she's amazing. So she said she's happy to do some calls for you guys as well. What we were thinking of doing as well, we might even do one big group one just for girls, so the guys and girls can invite, their female network onto the call, and you can hear, Larry's story and Crystal's story, and they can sort of explain, the journey, what it looked like for them. So you just let us know what you need with that, and we'll be able to work out the best solution.
Yeah, we might get that call with the girls probably within maybe a week and a bit, to just give everyone a bit of time as well to really maximise and bring as many girls together. Because I think there's a lot of power like that as well. I mean, the girls will hopefully we get Nicole and another girl. There'll be 3 just incredible women who Pete and I learned so much off of in the last 2 years, and we work together quite a lot. We're not even directly financially linked to one of them. We support each other a lot anyway. She's just unbelievable and leading the way over here in Australia. So we'll try and get that call together maybe in 8-9 days time, which will give all of you guys a bit of time to really get that list of women together who are interested, who just want to understand a bit more, whatever their case, and then we can do one larger call, which is leveraging all of our time, of course, with those powerhouses, which would be great.
Yeah. And what I'd be doing just finally is, Harry's done it really well. It's like with the pre-registration, this is a very unique situation. Isogenics have never done it before in the history of the company. It really gives you guys a window of opportunity where there's very little barrier to entry. Like all you're doing is you're getting someone's name and address and, basic details just to put them in the system. So, they'll get first priority of the products. But if they're also interested in the business, it does present a really awesome opportunity for them. One, because let's say Harry, Harry's enrolled Reese, right? Every person that Harry enrolls, let's say Harry enrolled Reese on his left, every person after that Harry enrolls on his left is also going into Reese's business. Right. And if these guys that Harry enrolls, they start to grow a big business, then they're all going into Reese and Harry's business. So it does present an opportunity for people to firstly capitalize on that, but secondly to, pay that forward. And if they are keen on the business and they're ready to get to work, then they can pre-register people and fill up their tree before day one. So that's why Bruce was saying you guys have the ability to not only get to executive yourself, which, in a normal market, like where the products are available, it does take much longer time. You guys get to, place people and become executive and then help other people to do the same thing. And that is where you'll shoot up very, very quickly.
Yeah, I think that just relates to Chevy as well. Obviously, Chevy took the product sometime last year. Obviously, kind, and he told somebody about it, totally forgot about it, and then the other day he's logged back into his account to start obviously kicking it off in the UK, and there's just shy of $600 in there from everybody else, obviously.
Yeah, right. Yeah, absolutely. and that would have been just from one person on his other side of his leg. So that's it. Just shows this business does do certain things itself. Once you set up, it will continue to have action. But how you can fast track that is by just reaching out and supporting those people below who. People of people. That's where Pete and I have really been trying to become better at, is really working with those, just the depth rather than trying to get huge amounts of roles, really reaching down and supporting our people, because you want them to have as much success. I would love for all of you guys to overtake Peter and I financially in the next 2 years, because then I know I've done my job as being a supporter. I mean, if you guys are making more money than me, it means I'm making a shitload of money. So that's exactly what this is about. It's really trying to help others to have the most success possible. And that's where you're going to have a huge, you're just going to have massive success yourself in the process.
And the other thing as well, just with putting people in groups, and Harry's done it really well. I was cautious that he might have thrown just a whole bunch of people in there, but he's had great conversations with everyone. They're all, relatively keen. So by putting people into groups too early, it can kind of throw people off, because there'll be one or two people that are really keen and sending messages and all that sort of stuff. And then 3 or 4 people haven't yet really got it. And they might not be that interested yet, but they could have been if they weren't in a group. So you kind of just take it step by step. Even when someone's like, oh my God, this is so exciting. You just get so excited that someone's excited. So you think, oh, I'll just chuck them in the group and blah, blah, blah. Take it one step at a time. Get them on a call with us first, or one of the group calls. Send them a bit of information. If they're keen to then really get into it, that's when you can kind of group them up. And predominantly for the people that know each other, that's where it's a really cool little group to have. So just, another little tip there. But we'll let you guys go to bed. We've obviously got the training call tomorrow night for you guys at 9 p.m. And that is for people only that are interested in building the business and learning and, getting straight into the training aspect. So it's not for people that are still wanting to learn more about it. It's just for the people that are ready to rumble.
On Sunday at 9 p.m, that's when we're going to have the greater call, the larger one, where, we're expecting there should be at least 40, 50 people there. And then we'll have Alan, Pete, myself, we'll have Crystal. We'll have a few people on there, so we'll have different views, and just it'd be a great one to plug anyone who's brand new. I want to have a few brand new people as well, just to go over a basic overview, really simple, like we did in the very, very first call. And we'll have that opportunity every single week, so you can continually repeat every week, speaking to people, share excitement, plug them into the call. Next week the same, and obviously you can see how that just grows and grows and grows. And you're just following that same system in the smaller groups, the training chats, the ones like we're doing today. And as soon as you sort of get that used to that, you're going to just grow. So it's really, really exciting, guys. But cool. Thanks so much for jumping on. This call's obviously recorded, so I'll shoot that across into that group, Harry, if you'd like, so everyone can watch this in their own time. And we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Yeah, Matt. Bye-bye.
Cheers, boys. Good.